Hello my Frugal friends, welcome back to another week of what was for dinner at our place. If we haven't had the chance to hang out before, my name is Nikki. Welcome to my little part of the interwebs where I like to share all of the tips and tricks that have helped our family budget better, demolish all of our debt, skyrocket our savings, and still have heaps of frugal fun along the way. So if that sounds like something that you would be interested in, I would love it if you would join us for all of the fun around here. You can hit that little subscribe button down below to be notified of all of my new content when it comes out. So just to recap what's been going on here at our place, if you are new or if you haven't caught the last couple of videos, we are in the middle of a pantry challenge. So basically I went through our fridge, freezer and our pantry and I pulled out the things particularly from the pantry that had been hanging around for way too long, and we started using a Use It Up basket. I absolutely love this idea. I heard of this idea from Aussie debt-free girl. I think I will link down below. I will also link our previous week's pantry challenge meals and this week's grocery shopping haul if you would like to see those as well. We did go grocery shopping this week, but we only spent $60. We picked up the things that we needed to complete this week's meal plan. Plus we kicked off our first Flybuys offer, which was a $60 spend. So we did grab a couple of things to pop back into the pantry, but the focus was on using up the things that are in our Use It Up basket. So I have heaps to share with you in today's video. I was really busy in the kitchen this week, but I loved it. I made heaps of fun things that some of the things we haven't done for ages, which is one of the things I really like about a pantry challenge. It forces us out of our current comfort cooking zone, you know, where we just keep cooking the same things over and over again with the same ingredients because that's what we've been doing. And it forces us to get creative and think outside the box. And sometimes we do things that are new, and sometimes we go back to some old favorites that we've just forgotten about, and we forgot that we loved them so much. So that is what happened at our place this week. I will walk you through all of our meals and let the food do the talking. Today I'm going to get a little bit of prep work done for some of the recipes that I'm going to be making this week. And the first thing that I'm going to do is start by making a multi-purpose mince that is going to be loaded with sneaky veggies. So it's going to make the actual meat that we have, which is a pork mince, go a lot further than just the 500 grams that it is. So I'm going to bulk it out with some lentils, some grated carrot and zucchini. The zucchini has come from our garden, and some of this cauliflower and broccoli rice. I pick these up when they are marked down and I fry them off from frozen. So I just grab them, chuck them in the freezer as is the day that I buy them, and then I use them from frozen and I fry them off in a little bit of oil and beef stock so that it has a bit of a meaty taste to it as opposed to tasting like vegetables. But what I'm doing is making a big batch of a multi-purpose mince that I'm going to use in 2 dishes. So some of it is going to go into a shepherd's pie, and I'm going to flavor it with a packet of lamb casserole seasoning that I've got just to use that up. And the other half I'm going to put into a tamale pie, although it's not exactly well, neither of these 2 recipes really, in all honesty, the shepherd's pie or the tamale pie, are really true to what they are supposed to be. But the shepherd's pie I'm going to top with mashed potato, and the tamale pie I'm going to top with a cornbread batter that I'm going to make with some of the polenta cornmeal that I have, and then we'll have that with salsa and sour cream. So not true to the original recipes, but we're going to make it work and the flavors are going to be there, so that's the most important thing. Anyways, today I'm going to get this multi-purpose mince going, and a couple of other bits and pieces as well to prepare for the week ahead. I'm also going to poach and shred this chicken that I picked up today. It is short dated, so I do need to do something with it today. I could just freeze this as is, or I could freeze the individual breasts as is, but I like to shred chicken because I think it makes it go further. And one of the dishes that I'm going to do this week is a chicken noodle soup, so I'm going to use shredded chicken in that, and then I'll have 2 chicken breasts shredded that I can use later on. They're ready to go, that I can throw in another dish. But that's another job that I'm going to get going today while I'm in the kitchen making the mince. Alright, so we've got the chicken breasts in there. I'm just going to poach those while I get started on our mince base over here. Alright, so I am using up the last of these lentils. Most people here don't like them. I don't mind them, but I do have to hide them if I'm going to use them in everything else. So what I'm going to do is cook these first in some beef stock. Give them a good cook to make sure that the lentils themselves are cooked through really well. I'm going to do that in the pressure cooker, and then I'm going to add the rest of the ingredients to make the mince base that we're going to use for 2 of our recipes this week. But I'm going to really cook these lentils so that they're not crunchy, and basically they're just going to turn to mush. Right, so that is less than a cup. That's probably 2/3 of a cup that I'm going to put in there. And I'm going to pop in 2 cups of water and 1 of these beef stock cubes. Alright, and I'm just going to put this on for 12 minutes, which is the lowest cook that this pressure cooker will do. And we'll start cooking off those lentils. Alright, so they are our red lentils. Now I'm going to start adding everything else. Alright, so I have cooked the lentils. I've got the grated carrot and zucchini in there. I have browned off the pork mince. Ooh, we are steaming up. And I have fried off the cauliflower and broccoli rice and cooked that in the frying pan with some beef stock as well. So now I'm just going to mix this all together. I did add 1 more cup of water just because it's in the pressure cooker, and give that a good mix around. We're going to put the lid back on this and cook it for another 12 minutes, and then we are going to split it and flavour our 2 different bases for our 2 different meals. Meanwhile, our chicken has been poaching and that's cooked now, so I'm going to pull these out, and I am going to keep this water as well as chicken broth for our soup. Alright, so there is our shredded chicken. That's 1 chicken breast in each container. Haven't actually weighed them, but I will cool these a little bit. I'm going to stick them in the fridge and then I will pop them in the freezer later on tonight. You will see me use 1 of these containers in one of the meals that we're going to do next week. But the other 2 are just going to go into the freezer for us to use later on down the track. Alright, and there we are after our second 12-minute cook. What I'm going to do now is divide this into 2 and flavour for our 2 different dinners. Alright, so I'm going to call that about half. I just used the bowl that I shredded the chicken in, just rinse that out, and I reckon it's about half. So let's flavour. Alright, our shepherd's pie is just going to get some frozen mixed veggies. I'm going to need 2 hands to do this. Alright, so it's probably about half the bag. Just mix that together. Alright, and our tamale pie is just going to get some corn mixed in through here, but I am going to add some other stuff to this as well. Alright, so that's a cup of corn. And we're going to get ready to top these. This is half of the bag of potatoes that I bought this week. This is about 1 kilo of potatoes cut up. We're going to do the mashed potato for the shepherd's pie, so I'm going to get that going while we finish off the tamale pie. Alright, so into our tamale base, I'm going to just chop up some tomatoes that have come out of the garden, some of these banana capsicums that look like chilies but they're not spicy, and a little bit of purple or Spanish onion, red onion, whatever you want to call it, and mix that all through there, and then we're going to make the top. Alright, so I have transferred that base now over into a baking tray. I'm going to put a layer of grated cheese and then a cornbread topping, and we're going to bake this in the oven. Alright, so this is just a really basic cornbread recipe. I've just got 1 cup of plain flour, 1 cup of polenta or cornmeal, 2 teaspoons of sugar, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, half a teaspoon of bicarb. I'll put a pinch of salt in there. I'm just going to mix this together for my dry ingredients. My wet ingredients is just going to be 1 egg beaten and 1 cup of milk and a little bit of melted butter. I'm going to really quickly mix the wet ingredients into the dry ingredients and then pour over the top of our pie. Alright, so there we are with the cornbread butter on top. This is going to go in the oven at 180 degrees for about half an hour until this top is golden brown, and then we're going to serve it with some sour cream and some salsa. Alright, so we've got our shepherd's pie or cottage pie, whatever you want to call it, divided up between 2 smaller dishes. So this is definitely going to do 2 full meals for us. I'm just going to mash the potato and add that on top, and a little bit of grated cheese. I'm going to get both of these meals into the oven. Alright, and there is our 2 smaller shepherd's pies or cottage pies ready to go in. They're topped with mashed potato and just some Parmesan cheese from the pantry. I didn't put any grated cheese on. I'm just going to chuck these in now and give them about half an hour as well. Alright, and there we are. So at the back here we have the tamale pie with the Mexican-y type flavors on the bottom and a cornbread batter on top. And at the front we've got our 2 shepherd's pies or cottage pies with the meat and veggies down the bottom and the potato crust with a little bit of Parmesan cheese on the top. So as you can see, that's definitely going to feed a few people. We will probably get 2 meals out of the back one in the bigger pan. We'll get 1 meal here and 1 meal here, and maybe some leftovers for lunch as well. And then we have our tamale pie with the cornbread top on it with a little bit of sour cream and some salsa. going to use some of these leftover veggies and things that have been in the fridge for a couple of days to make an egg bake or mini frittata for breakfast, using up this chopped kale that I picked up that was marked down. I've also got some small tomatoes that have come out of the garden. They were picked a couple of days ago. I mean, they're still good, but we have heaps coming out, so I'm going to use those up. This was our first bell capsicum that came out of the garden, so I'm going to put a little bit of that in there, and I have half a zucchini that has been used for something else. So I really like this egg bake, frittata, whatever you want to call it, as a way just to use up little bits and pieces and scraps. And I'm going to have a look in the freezer and see. I think there are some bacon bits in there that I might defrost to throw in as well. You don't have to. I've done this with leftover chicken or ham. You can pretty much throw anything you want into this. You can cook it in a big tray and cut it up. You can put it in little muffin tins. I'm probably going to put it in little silicone muffin tins today just to make things easy, but it's just a use it up egg bake that we are going to have for breakfasts. Right, and there we are. There's a dozen of the mini egg frittatas. I will let them cool and then put them in a container. We'll have 2 each for breakfast, so that's going to be 3 days if Shannon and I just have them, 2 days if Charlotte wants to have some for breakfast as well. Tonight I'm going to attempt to make some Italian rice balls that we're just going to serve in a pasta sauce, and just using up a few things here today, mainly the sushi rice that I've had tucked in the back of the pantry for quite a while. I realize now, actually thinking about it, I probably could have just used it in a risotto, but it was in its own container and it sort of got lost. So wanted to do something different. I do risotto a fair bit, and I have some arborio rice, so I'm going to try something that I haven't done in a very, very long time. So we're going to see how successful this is. I also had some baby bocconcini mozzarella balls that I picked up. They were marked down, they were short dated, so I picked up a big container for 99 cents. I used some and I flash froze the other ones. It's still good for recipes where it's cooked. I wouldn't defrost it and eat the cheese just defrosted because it tends to go a little bit grainy. But if you're going to cook with it, like you're going to wrap a rice ball around it and deep fry it, then this is going to be perfect because this is going to melt and be delicious. I'm not going to use all of these. I'm probably going to use about half of this, so I still will have some left over for another meal, but that is using up some of the cheese that I have in the freezer. I'm going to use up all of this sushi rice that was in the pantry. I'm going to need a couple of eggs, and I do have a couple left, which is handy. Breadcrumbs. I don't actually have any breadcrumbs on hand. I do have this one small packet of fine breadcrumbs that came from HelloFresh, but what I'm going to do is smash up some cornflakes, and that'll be the last of the cornflakes as well, and I'm going to mix them together to make a crumb, which I think is going to work. And then as far as the pasta sauce goes, I'm just going to use some passata sauce. I usually always have some of this on hand in the pantry, and I'm just going to add some seasonings to that. You could add whatever you want. Today I'm going to use a combination of mixed herbs and some Tuscan. Love Tuscan. It ends up in pretty much everything. But you could use any combination that you wanted to flavor the sauce. You could even add some onion and garlic if you wanted to as well. I'm not going to do that today. I'm just going to keep it pretty simple, and let's see how we go. All right, and there we are, all placed up. Now, I didn't actually show you guys how I made these because it's very messy and my hands were filthy and I really didn't want to get the camera out while I was trying to do that. But these are a rice ball wrapped around a little bit of mozzarella cheese. I did bake them instead of fry them, and I've made the sauce just with some passata, some herbs. There is some grated zucchini and carrot in there because you guys know I love to do that. And I chucked a little bit of sour cream on as well. This has made quite a few of these. They're about the size of a golf ball, and I think I ended up making 19 in total. So there is 4 for each of the adults. There is 3 for Charlotte, and I am serving it with a zucchini and cheese bread that I made today as well, although I don't know that we're really going to need that because I think this is going to be quite filling. And once again, there's sneaky veggies in there, so I think that should pretty much do us. Tonight I'm just going to make a chicken and sweet corn soup really quickly. This is just a dump and go meal into the pressure cooker. So this is one of the parcels of shredded chicken that I shredded earlier in the week, and this is the water that we poached the chicken in. So it's not really chicken stock per se, doesn't have a really strong chicken flavor to it, but it does have a bit of a chicken flavor to it, and the chicken was poached in it. So I'm going to use it rather than tip it down the drain, but I'm going to add some extra kick by popping in some chicken stock cubes. I'm also going to add a little bit of a kick to this as well. It's pretty simple, just with chicken and corn. So I'm going to add a little bit of sweet chili sauce and just a little bit of chili. I'll probably run with the chili flakes rather than the ground chili, but we'll see how it goes after I've added the sweet chili sauce. I'll test it and then see if I want to put just a little bit more in. Now, this was supposed to be a chicken noodle soup, but I opened the noodles and they were past their use by date, and I'm gonna be honest, they smelt funky. So I put them in the bin. I do realize they're not a wheat noodle, they were a corn-based noodle, but I don't know. I didn't feel happy using them, so sometimes the truth is that sometimes when you leave things in your pantry for too long, they go bad. And that is why we do the pantry challenge and try to use stuff up, and that's why it's really important. So tonight's dinner is going to be chicken and sweet corn, plus I have some of the zucchini cheese bread that I made yesterday that we're going to serve on the side. So I'm going to go and chuck this stuff in the pressure cooker, and we will have dinner in about 15 minutes. And there we are. So I have toasted the zucchini and cheese bread just under the grill quickly, just to crispy it up a little bit on the outside. It's got a little bit of butter on it. And that is the chicken and sweet corn soup. I did end up throwing in 1/4 cup of rice, but that's it. That is dinner tonight. Well, that's it from me today. If you did enjoy today's video, as always, if you could please give it a thumbs up, I really do appreciate that. It lets me know the kind of content that you guys are enjoying and what you would like to see more of. And of course, if you would like to see any of the recipes that I actually followed, I mean, I don't always follow recipes, but sometimes I use them for inspiration. I will link any recipes that I actually did Google in the process of making this video down below, so you can go and check those out as well. And of course, if you would like to hang out some more, then why don't you come over to either Instagram or Facebook. You can find me over there on both of those platforms, and I would love for you to pop past and say g'day. love to get to know a little bit better over there as well. And if you haven't already, if you enjoyed hanging out here today, I would really appreciate it if you would go ahead and hit that little subscribe button down below as well. It is the best way to be notified of my new content when it comes out. And I do have heaps of new things to share with you guys in 2021. There is a lot going on here at our place, and I would love for you to come along, join in some of the fun, and join our journey with us. Well, that is it from me today. Thank you so much for spending a little bit of your time here with me at our place. I hope some of the meals that you saw here today inspire you in your kitchen, and maybe dust off a few of the things that are in your pantry as well that you know that you really should be using up, and not letting them go funky and out of date, because that, my friends, is not fun. Alright you guys, well, have a fantastic week, and I hope to see you in the next video. Until then, take care. Bye.